Hi, I'm Davina, and today I would like to talk about five things, 5 signs that you have a narcissistic parent or even two narcissistic parents or caregivers when you were a child. Now, the first one is chronic shame. And for most of my life, I didn't even realize that I was feeling ashamed because it was so much a part of my identity. So, yeah, anytime your parents, shoulded you, like you should do this or you should do that, they sent you the message that you were not enough as you were, that you were not acceptable, that you needed to change something about yourself or be different. So children grow up constantly trying to be enough, try to measure up, try to be what they think their parents want them to be. And so that develops this chronic sense of shame. And it's not just like a once in a while, it's just always there. I mean, for me, it was just, it probably guided like my whole life, right? Until the point where I realized, oh, I'm feeling ashamed. You mean I'm not a shameful person? This is just a feeling? That was a huge turning point for me. But this sense of shame, it's yeah, deeply, deeply painful. It's a sense of not being enough, of being inadequate, of being incompetent, just not being able to handle things. And low self-confidence is also part of that, a constant doubting of yourself. You may always be questioning what you're doing. Should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? Questioning your decisions, questioning even your feelings, what you're thinking. And that's exhausting, of course. And so that's, yeah, probably I think the number one kind of hallmark of having narcissistic parents is that chronic shame. And of course, they have the chronic shame because they also have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, because one goes with the other, right? If you have a narcissistic parent, then you have C-PTSD. If you have C-PTSD, then you had someone in your life, a caregiver who is a narcissist. The second one is no boundaries. Yeah, narcissistic parents don't want you to have your own boundaries. You basically are an extension of who you think you're just an extension of them. So they don't allow you to, or they don't, nurture your autonomy and your independence. They don't try to help you to develop your skills and talents. They just want you to be sort of a cookie cutter version of who they are. They want you to have their values and all that kind of stuff. So basically, you're not allowed to be you. This is your authenticity, right? Yeah, your parents don't really care about how you feel about things, they likely invalidated you or just dismissed, your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions, probably never really listened to you, really. And that's a really sad thing. And it led to this state of, for me, I know I was going around in the world. I had no boundaries. I had no sense of who I was, what my values were, what was important to me, how I wanted to live my life, what worked for me, what didn't work for me, what made me feel good, what made me feel bad. I had no sense of any of this because I, of course, never validated my feelings because I was so not in touch with how I was feeling because I never learned anything about my feelings or how to identify my feelings. And feelings are so important for boundaries. If you don't know when you're angry, how do you know that when something is not right for you, right? That's a like a beep, 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 one of those little alarm bells going, this is not right, you know? So feelings give us messages about um, such important information about how, you know, how to live our lives in a way that helps us to flourish. And without these boundaries, it's very difficult to flourish. And so, yeah, that's the second one, is just not having any boundaries. And this leads to number three, which is codependency. When we don't have any strong sense of ourself, our sense of value, then we're looking to other relationships to try to, you know, fill us up, to try and fill those needs. So we're looking to someone else to make us happy. So we're thinking, well, if I just do this, then they're going to behave like this, and then that will make me happy. So it's kind of a very indirect route. We end up trying to control others in order to try to meet our own needs, in order to try to um, maintain our well-being, our peace of mind. But of course that doesn't work, right? I mean, I tried to control my ex-husband. I was like, well, he shouldn't be doing that. And, you know, he should be doing this for me, but he's not, you know, but I just kept going in that loop for years and years. I was in that thinking he should be different, thinking he should be, you know, doing different things and meeting my needs, and he wasn't. So this leads to this codependent kind of situation where we're not taking responsibility for our own needs. We're expecting others to just magically know what our needs are and do those things. But some people don't want to, right? Some people don't want to respect your boundaries. So we end up in these messed up relationships where yeah, nobody is taking responsibility for themselves, and it can just be like, yeah, a train wreck, really. Um, so that is codependency, right? Number four is abandonment issues. And I think this kind of falls, you know, with all the other things going on. You know, we basically learn to crave, you know, acceptance, and we give up our authenticity in order to fit in, and so this brings us abandonment issues, because we think that if I do show my true self, if I do speak up for myself, I'm going to be abandoned. They're going to leave me. So we end up terrified of rejection, terrified that people are going to leave us. And also, of course, we didn't develop any kind of sense of real kind of independence, and so we're overly dependent on others rather than having a healthy kind of interdependent relationships. Yeah, when I left my ex, I was just in terror, like absolute, like, I think terror was the only way to describe it. Like, even though I had left him, that doesn't matter. I mean, even if you're the one to leave a relationship, you can still have those abandonment issues come up. Those feelings of abandonment can be many. Can be like, you can experience the shame, guilt, loneliness, helplessness, hopelessness. It can lead into a really dark place of just despair and even suicidal thoughts. So yeah, abandonment issues are, yeah, we never had secure attachment with our parents, right? And if you don't have that secure attachment, if you don't have someone who is attuned to you, then you're going to have relationship issues, abandonment issues, trust issues, all that stuff. Number five is depression and anxiety. And Well, of course, if you don't have boundaries, and you're not trusting yourself, believing in yourself, it's very hard to feel calm, to feel relaxed in the world. Um, the more I have developed my sense of self trust, and the more I listen to myself, it's slowly coming, more and more, and I don't have the terrible anxiety that I used to have. But you know, lately, so there has been a little bit of worry, and that kind of is so subconscious. And as highly sensitive people, we think, oh, it's just because I'm highly sensitive. This is just goes with the territory of being highly sensitive, that I'm going to have anxiety and depression. And that's not true. And I really want highly sensitive people to know that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. That, in our society, we think that depression and anxiety are these kind of just normal everyday things, and you just pop some pills. No, these things come from complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is from having narcissistic parents. Um, because yeah, it's we feel depressed because our needs aren't being met, and we don't have relationships, and we have no idea how to live our lives, and we feel incompetent, and these are all things because our parents set us up for basically failure. I was crying, having a good cry this morning, and just kind of flashing back to when I was like 19 years old, going out on my own into the big world, with living by myself for the first time, and just feeling that I felt totally incompetent, just like I am not able to handle this life, this world. And yeah, I ended up in an eating disorder and depression, and not a good place. So if you are in that kind of place, just be so gentle with yourself, because this is when you turn it around. Instead of asking yourself, what's wrong with me, turn it around and say, what happened to me? When you ask that question, then you go, oh, this is nothing about me at all. I had parents who were unskillful and incompetent, and only cared about themselves, and really had um, no interest in my best interest. Um, so it's really important to know that your parents didn't have a capacity to love. If they're not loving themselves, and they're not connected to themselves, their feelings, their values, how could they possibly have loved you the way you needed to be loved in order to flourish? So it's really important to know that it is not your fault, and to start getting curious, and thinking, yeah, what happened to me as a child? What did I go through? And really being honest about your experiences. And that's a difficult thing. So I think I've gone on for long enough this morning. I really hope this is in some way going to inspire, help, just bringing something to you today. I'm wishing you many, many blessings on your journey. I'm Davina at Boldness Blooming. Thanks for watching.